G-I-G-G-S. No. Rhodri.
Is there anything that Lionel Messi is better than you at?
It's opinions. I respect your opinions. Maybe in your opinion Messi is better than me, but in my mind I'm better than him.
I do it again.
Add it up, bankroll, euro, peso, add it up. I'm just doing me, everything is on me. Oh, you matter what? Add it up, bankroll, euro, peso, add it up. I'm just doing me, everything is on me. Oh, you matter what? Told her if it's all me, everything is on me. Gon' back it up. Matter what? Told you I'ma do me. Why you hating on me? It's not adding up. I do roll like a Mack truck. Country heart, I might cop a farm and go act up. Like scars, I was cold hearted, now I'm back up. Keep it real, I do this once a month. I don't rap much. I just take the money and go stack up. Only buy Carhartt cards and get tatted up. All that other bull, it don't matter much. You only climb me, I put the ladders up. No fault, I done doubled up on the workload. I think I fell in love with the bankroll. Pray up, get money, then we lay low. Add it up, bankroll, euro, peso, add it up. I'm just doing me, everything is on me. Oh, you matter what? Add it up,
Yes, guys, I'm Si. Welcome to Ace Podcast Nation. Welcome to Rhodri Giggs on Football. We are here live to talk all things up the beautiful game as we fly through as many stories as we can in about 45 minutes to an hour, somewhere in between then. But lots to discuss as always. And as usual, I am joined by none other than ex-Bangor, Aberystwyth Town, Salford City, FC United forwards, Mr. Rhodri Giggs. How are you, my friend? You good?
Yeah, don't forget Mosley, 1-2 leagues there.
Can't forget any of them, mate. I'm going to have to get like a big, long list so I can read through them every show. You good though, mate, yeah?
Yeah, good, mate. You? After you
Yeah, I'm
throat,
right.
just been playing the violin for his sore throat, guys. You know,
Mate, yeah. I just been kids, isn't it? As soon as they get it, or they just pass it on, like, and I just been feeling rough all week. But there we go. Such is life, my friend.
Me playing the violin. Go on.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? I just noticed that the Twitter stream's not gone.
I was mingling last week, to be fair.
Oh, don't know why that hasn't gotten. There it is. Yeah, the Twitter stream didn't go. It's weird. Oh well. Yeah, so mate, loads to discuss. Obviously, last week we spent quite a lot of time, a big portion of the show talking about United. So I don't want to spend too much talking about the same things and that. I will ask you a bit about the Scott McTominay show and whatnot. But before we get to that, I want to talk about Man City because it's funny, right? You look at the table in the Premier League and it's pretty close. Like there's no, like United, like all the news is United are, 10 Hag's under pressure, this, that, and the other. But actually, United are like 8 points off top and they're 5 points off Liverpool in fourth. And they're only a couple of points behind the teams in front of them. Man City have lost 2 on the bounce, 3 on the bounce, I think, in all competitions. But you don't hear nothing about it. And that's like strange to me, But with regards to Man City, do you think, are they bad losers? Like you see Kyle Walker, you don't know what was said, granted, but the guy, I can't remember, I think he's free kick set piece coach, has offered his hand at the end of the game as Kyle Walker's walking off the pitch. And they've ended up in like a bit of a scuffle and whatnot, and it's all broken up as usual. Like, is that like just because they're not used to losing? Is it, do you think he said something? Or there's a bit of
a high intense game. The winners, you tell me a winner who likes losing. It's just lost in the last 5 minutes. And we don't know, we're not privileged to what goes on behind the scenes and what the real situation was there. But yeah, bad losers. But so life had just got beat 5 minutes to the end. To our nearest rivals last year, probably our closest rivals this year. So these games matter. I know it's early in the season, but if they win by a point or 2 points, this will be the game that I won it. So, it's sandbags, though, isn't it? Really, stuff that used to go on. It's just sandbags, isn't it? We like a bit of this, don't we? It's all like pushing and shoving. Anyway, there's no headbutts, there's no flying elbows, or
it never gets too nasty, does it?
Yeah, it's nothing.
It's weird to me, like, because I see what Man City have been up to in the last couple of weeks. They have not been playing well. Results haven't gone their way. Yeah, all you do seem to see in the papers and Talk Sport and the radio and Sky Sports is just United. Ten Hag, players don't like the manager, leaks and all this sort of stuff. And it's like they're not the only club which is having issues, should we say? So I find it fascinating that
everyone's got issues, but when you're winning, these things get masked and they don't become that relevant. But if a team continuously wins and then gets beat, it's big news, and these teams get rattled, and we see like at the end of the game. But it's always been, and touching on what you're saying about Manchester, it's always been big story against Manchester, bigger than any club. It's the biggest club in the country, and arguably the world. So, and it sells more papers and gets more clicks. So it's always been the case.
Do you on like the Arsenal sort of City type of thing? Do you think Arsenal are genuine title contenders now? Like, do you look at them and you think like if anyone's going to challenge?
The only doubt I have is they haven't got a real, goal scorer.
Yeah, and I mean, even like when Jesus is fit and firing, I don't really see him as like an out and out.
No.
Number 9 who's going to get you 25 goals.
So, and the kids would have to chip in with 20, and Jesus chip in with 20. I don't really see that. You know what I mean? So, but that's what they're going to have to do to win the league.
Absolutely, they are. Yeah, I think I look at players like they need to keep Saka fit. For instance, I feel like I know Martinelli got a goal the other day, but to me, there is a
played 87 straight games, mate, and then
Saka.
Then they played him too long, and they have not looked after him. But they haven't looked after him the best, because he played that the 3 days before against Bournemouth. They were 4-0 up. Did he win 4-0? And they brought him off on the 86th minute, 85th minute, something like that.
It's not giving him a rest.
Why not bring him off 60, 55, save his legs, rest him? But they haven't done that. They've tried to play him, and now there you go. After 87 straight games, which is a lot, now he's blew up.
Yeah, I just Arsenal. Like, I look at Arsenal, and I think, right, if Saka was out, like, say you look at some of the injuries United got, just for an example. So you got like Luke Shaw's out for 4 months. You got Martinez probably out for about 4 or 5 months, and the list is endless. I think they got 16 players out at the moment. Like, if Saka was gone for 4 months, do Arsenal still win? Just still keep churning out the wins?
No.
And I don't think they do. I really don't. And I just think
that's the problem. They haven't got the depth.
But wasn't that the point of these players?
The Declan Rice coming in has made a massive difference to him. But they haven't got the depth where City, arguably have the depth, because they've got rid of Gundogan, Mahrez, big players for him, and they brought in his Doku and Kovacic. They're okay players, but not the Gundogan. Gundogan was a big player from last year. He scored a lot of important goals. He scored at Wembley in the first minute, volley 25 yards out. So he scored some important goals. Well, do I see Kovacic doing that? No. Do I see this Doku chipping in with 10, 15 goals like Mahrez did? No. So, they've got some problems as well. Grealish doesn't look fit. Foden can't really get a run of games, even though Kevin De Bruyne is out. So, it's not even hunky and dory there, but you still think that with the quality they've got, they'll still be, the team to beat.
Yeah, like you kind of think they'll still, even with the sort of issues and injuries and in this this drop in form, you still expect them when when the shit hits the fan and squeaky bum time, whatever you want to call it, they'll put a run together, and so they'll be there or thereabouts, even if they have a poor season.
Whereas long year, they done the World Cup. People forget about that. The World Cup this time last year was building up, so they've played a lot of football. And when it comes to crunch time after Christmas, you see where you're at, and then obviously after Easter, that's when it gets going. So long way to go.
It's fascinating, mate. So does that mean if we're saying, or you're saying that Arsenal, are title contenders, does that mean that Tottenham and Postecoglou are title contenders?
They're there, the top of the league. So yeah, they're the team to catch at the minute. Playing good football, come out of nowhere. No one's expecting it. Oh, Harry Kane's leaving. Tottenham are going to be rubbish, and they're better.
Wouldn't it be ironic?
No one to depend on Harry Kane. People have got to grow up and take responsibility, and they have done. Great acquisition with Maddison. Very, very good for £40 million. I don't know how top clubs, well, Tottenham are a top club, but the bigger clubs didn't pick him up because he's a footballer. He scores goals and he makes goals. So
it's interesting, isn't it? Because
20 million more you pay for Mason Mount. It doesn't compute with me that. So it's just bad business. Terrible business. I would have took him when I first seen him. When he went to Norwich, I was live. I seen him at Old Trafford. I was there, and he played Norwich, and we won. But he was the best player on the park. I was thinking he's a good player, and we should have got him. But he just come to Norwich.
It's weird, isn't it? Because people like us and other podcasts and all social media people, everyone was kind of pointing towards Maddison and saying, well, he would be quite a good signing for United. He's cheap, blah blah blah.
Arsenal have it 60 million. Come on.
Yeah, Maddison in Spain. Slot Maddison in there, and it's massive difference, isn't it?
And you save yourself 20 million quid. Come on.
It's very strange, isn't it? How certain managers and clubs just don't seem to. Do you think sometimes they try to be too clever?
People are bent and someone's getting greased somewhere because these players, £60 million for Havertz.
No,
£60 million for Mason Mount.
At least right. I understand. At the moment, Mount doesn't look like anywhere near that type of player. But
No,
at least with him,
I'm being.
You can look back. He's done it.
A lot of money in it.
He's done it previously, so you can at least look at that and go, right. Well, at least he's produced on the highest stage, like Champions League finals, things like this. So you can see, right, he's had one bad season, which was last season. So you can kind of go, right, is it worth taking a gamble? Okay, but
I'm just going
Havertz has been shite, mate.
Yeah, exactly. But I'm just going off. Gordon, 40 million.
Oh, Jesus. I still can't get over that, mate.
Madison, 40 million. No, but these are
cheaper players who have
Gordon looks like a good player at Newcastle now. He's quick. I've got all my hands up. Once I've seen him this year, he's looked dangerous. Quick, a bit volatile, but
I think I like a bit of that, though, mate. I like a bit of
No, but he just needs to control it. He just needs to control it, not get his team in trouble. But yeah, I like the look of him.
Wouldn't it be ironic, mate, if Tottenham end up in the title race, come the end of the season after Harry Kane has been trying to do it for years and years. He leaves, and then they're right bang up in it.
Yes, football in it. That's the way life goes, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, Reese, who watches the show regular, he'll probably be in the comments now in a bit. He was saying, when Postecoglou took over, he said he really fancied him to kind of take Spurs on and really do a good job. I like his squad and I like the way he sets up. I like the mix of kind of youth and experience. It reminds me a lot of those old United teams in the 90s when you just had a lot of young, hungry players who they hadn't really won anything at that point. So they were just hungry and all they wanted to do was just win. And I look at some of these Spurs players, I'm not saying they'll go on and do that, but just their attitude to each game reminds me of that hunger. Like Basuma's been, sat on the bench for a season and a half. He's come into the side now, and he looks like a guy who's just hungry for it, just wants to play and kind of implement himself on games. When you look at like the current sort of top 10, say down to say top 11 down to Chelsea, who do you think falls away? Who do you think, ends up around the sort of top 6, battling for the top 4, etc.? So you've got like Brighton, Villa, West Ham, Newcastle, Palace, United, Chelsea.
Oh, mate, it's a tough one because I would stick at the minute Villa, Newcastle, Brighton, Chelsea, and United. Little group there. Then you've got Liverpool, Arsenal, City, Newcastle. No, Arsenal, yeah, them 3.
So, yeah, I think I look at the top 4 now, which is Tottenham, Arsenal, Man City, Liverpool. And I think on form and on paper, they probably have the strongest squads, apart from Chelsea, because Chelsea is like almost like a team on its own. You just don't know what you're going to get with them. Villa, I think, have got a great manager, and I think they've got a great first 11. I think after that is where they have problems. Brighton looked formidable and fantastic at the start of the season, and then the last 2 weeks have suddenly looked very, very average. So I wonder whether
they come back from being down against Liverpool, so that's no means.
Yeah, but I mean, they took an absolute spanking, didn't they? Was it 6-1 the week before? Not saying that everyone has an off day and stuff like that, but I just wonder whether that's a sign that maybe maybe some of the players are tired going into the international break, or maybe teams are coming up with plans to negate their tactics, whatever it may be. West Ham's an interesting one for me because James Ward-Prowse can't get in the England squad, which is still mental to me. Has just been consistently great, and he's dragging dragging West Ham through games, and even when they're under a bit of pressure in games, it's his looking after the ball. He rarely gives the ball away. He's battling. He very much takes the pressure off him, and I think they look better without Declan Rice by quite a considerable amount. I think they've strengthened really, really well. I'm not saying that's not necessarily a dig at Declan Rice, because
but that's a sign of a good, well organised team where you can take someone out and bring someone in, and it doesn't really affect the
collective.
That's a good, solid team. Because Declan Rice is a very good player, but he's not a Jude Bellingham or a Zinedine Zidane or a Pirlo or Steven Gerrard. Come on.
So you're saying he's not a £100 million player?
So I'm sure you can get someone for 40, 50 million, which they have, and he's put on.
Well, I tell you what I think would have been a great signing for West Ham to complement what they've got is Scott McTominay. I think he would have been excellent to go with what they got with Ward-Prowse and some of the others they bought. I think he would have been a great signing to really sort of to bolster those ranks. And I think it's interesting because McTominay's obviously playing against Spain for Tottenham, for Spurs this evening. For Scotland this evening, and he's off the back of scoring 2 in injury time for United. Will that resurrect his United career? Has he got something to offer? Because most United fans, I think, were when that West Ham bid came in for 40 million. I think most United fans were like, right, thanks, but ta-ra. Have you changed your opinion? Would you keep him at the moment? Like, I think, say January now, you still got a few injuries. Would you keep McTominay, or would you try and flip him?
I would give him another chance now, another run of games after him score that couple of goals and see if it's it's a stepping stone for him. And
what'll be interesting, mate? Sorry to interrupt you. Right, it'd be interesting. Is Ten Hag always tries to play him as a holding midfielder, whereas for Scotland he plays more of like box to box or attacking midfielder. And now they've got Amrabat and Casemiro. It'll be interesting if McTominay does get a run of games, whether he gets a run of games.
Casemiro's got suspect. Plus, you can't get about the pitch.
I got an interesting stat for you on Casemiro, mate. Well, not a stat, but a fact. I was reading a thing which said pretty much every season in football he's played for Madrid, and I can't remember what the team was he was where before, but before Christmas, his stats are not great. And then from around November time to the end of the season, they almost double in like quality, if you like, which is quite interesting. So he's clearly like a slow starter. And if you think back to last year when he came in for United, he did start slow. But then everyone kind of put it down to, Premier League, new country, blah, blah, blah.
He was on the bench a lot at first, wasn't he?
Yeah, McTominay was keeping him out the side at first, wasn't he? Because McTominay was doing all right. And I think they were just getting Casemiro slowly acclimatized. But it's kind of interesting because I see, the social media fan, which we always laugh at, is like, they're writing Casemiro off. He's finished. He's this, he's that. Like, I just think he's got history of being pretty shocking in the first half of the season. I don't know, for whatever reason, he seems to struggle. Like there was a season a couple of years ago where in the first half of the season, he was getting booed by Madrid fans because he was so bad. But then by the end of the season, he was so good. He was like, the top dog. And, football fans are fickle. We know this. But I'm interested to see, is this the start of the decline of one of the great holding midfielders of the modern generation? Or is it just another season of him starting slow and come Christmas and after Christmas, he's going to be back to his best? Because I think everybody, even people who were not watching United, saw Amrabat coming in and think, God, they make a really good partnership. And it hasn't quite happened for various reasons. Obviously, the left back situation and stuff like that. And I think at the moment, if you had a left back, I think people would probably want Amrabat in ahead of Casemiro, wouldn't they?
Probably, yeah.
But it'll be interesting, mate, because I do think he's one of the best holding midfielders of the kind of modern football. But you can't play as badly as he has been and keep your place in the side.
Whatever, you have to go with them stats, and then November's only around the corner. So
yeah, it'd be interesting because he did all right a couple of weeks ago, didn't he? He had like I can't forget which game it was. Was it the Palace game?
When he gets isolated, or he's made a mistake by giving the ball away.
But is that where they've tried to play with they tried to play with Mount and Bruno, didn't they? And then use Casemiro.
Yeah, that's just nothing to do with that. That's him just switching off. And it's a 5-yard ball, and he's given it away.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, he's given the ball away a lot.
He's having a look over his shoulder, and he don't give the ball away, but he's obviously just too blasé, and give the ball away. It was a goal.
So I've asked the question in the title. Is are United as bad as the media portray? So my question to you is, are they as bad when you consider that they've got 3 of their first choice defence out, the keeper's struggling to acclimatise, they have got I think on Saturday for Brentford they had 16 injuries because they've had a few players back. Like, I know, like Ten Hag and some other people have said, they don't want to use injuries as an excuse. But it is a reason why United are having problems this year because they've got so many injuries. They had a striker which they couldn't get in, stuff like that. Like, regardless of whether you want to use injuries as a excuse, it's a fact, isn't it, that they've got a shitload of injuries.
United,
yeah.
It's there's no hiding away from it. The left back, right back, down 3 left backs.
Yeah.
16.
They 16 first team players
that's come in who's injured, and players aren't on it. Just not on it, and they've been exploited. So it's a good end to an international break, and then see where they are for when they come back. Hopefully no one comes back injured again or to leave you with less players, but we'll just take it from there and see what happens.
I think we're United. Number one, they'd be absolutely, I think I've said this numerous times, like they'd be mental, mate, to sack Ten Hag. And like, did you hear what Alan Brazil said on TalkSport? So he outright said that a United first team player had told, I think his mate it was, but basically it said it come direct from a Manchester United player.
Who said that?
Not Derek Brazil, Alan Brazil.
All right, yeah.
And said that the players are not having Ten Hag was the terminology used. And do you know what I said to my mate? I said, if I was the United board, I would go into that changing room the next day and I would get all the players in there and I would say, Eric Ten Hag's going to be, we're in discussions to extend his contract for a new 10-year contract. Anyone who's got a problem with that, come and see me with your agent and we'll sort out a move for you. Because I look at what a large portion of that dressing room, time and time again for the last, how long did since Fergie left? 10 years?
Yeah.
10 years, time and time again. It's the same cycle. They start off all right, then they go shit, then the leaks start, and you hear all these things in the papers about the players are not happy with the manager and the extra training and all the bullshit. Like, how about play for the badge, play for your team, play for your manager, and just shut up and do your job. You get paid a shitload of exorbitant amount of money to play football. And I had a bit of a rant last week, so I don't want to go off again. But it's frustrating to me because they should just get their head down and work, shouldn't they? And I'm not even on about Jadon. You know, I haven't even touched on Jadon Sancho. But, like, I'm on about... I think, look at Harry Maguire, right? Regardless of what you think, for some reason, the international break is the Harry Maguire show, where every international break, he just seems to do every interview and everything, and it's all like the same cycle. But like, he didn't get his move for whatever reason. He kind of shut up about it, didn't moan, didn't go to the press, didn't do this, didn't do that. Just shut up, trained hard, and waited for his chance. And then he's played a couple of games recently and done quite well. I thought he played as good as... He's certainly been better than Lindelof was on Saturday. Lindelof's been shocking. I don't care what anyone says. This season, I don't know what's going on with him, but he has been absolutely terrible. But Maguire looked pretty good on Saturday. Like, you know.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree.
Not a bad backup defender, you know.
They like the defenders. They like to defend.
Yeah. But he's got his head down, kept his mouth shut.
I like his attitude. He went in when the forward dropped. He went all the way in. Even if he went into their own half, he put pressure. And I like what he was doing. Yeah, he looked on it. Did play well on clean sheet. So he should get a good run. Should let them two now have a good run of games. Let them two just play.
So who was it? It was Maguire and Johnny Evans. Yeah, I'd play, unless Varane's back, I'd probably play Maguire and Varane.
No. He's made a
couple of errors.
Leave him.
Let him get fit, is it?
Yeah. Strengthen himself up or something. I don't know. He's injured every 2 minutes.
Well, last season, that's what they did, didn't they? When Ten Hag first came in, they sent Varane off to do strength and I think United's next game is Sheffield United away. Then they've got Copenhagen in the Champions League, and then they've got City at home in the league. So the next two games are winnable, regardless. So I would probably agree with you. After the international break, play Maguire and Evans for those two games, and then you can have a look at Varane's fitness and against Man City, because I don't think you want to play Evans necessarily against Man City if you don't have to. But I think they need a left back, mate, back. They need one of them back. Reguilon, someone, just so they can play Amrabat in midfield.
I know.
But, yeah, it's such a strange one.
He must have listened to me on the podcast last week when I said Lindelof left back.
Yeah, they played him, didn't they? I don't know what's gone on with him this year, though, mate. He's been absolutely awful. And at the end of last year, at the end of the season, when he came in, he looked really good. It's a weird one. On weird things, mate, talk to me about Birmingham City, right? I had a bit of a discussion of this yesterday on the Cardiff show, but so they sacked John Eustace as manager. He was doing quite well. They're they're in the playoffs. They're having a good run of form. They've been playing good football. Got a good mix of young and experienced players. He's only been there 15 months, but they got wind that Wayne Rooney was available, and they've sacked John Eustace, binned him off straight away. Got Rooney in, Ashley Cole, assistant manager, John O'Shea, first team coach. can you understand it? Do you think it's a bit poor? Where do you stand on it? Because I know the general consensus yesterday in the chat was it's a bit piss poor treatment of John Eustace, and like Rooney hasn't done that much as a manager to bin someone off who's doing well just because you've got the opportunity to get him.
This never ends well. It never ends well. I might be mistaken because they've got a few quid now and they might be have backing, but didn't Zola go there and they do this?
Yeah, they did exactly the same thing with Zola. They binned off a manager who was doing well because Zola became available, paid him a shitload of money, gave him money, and they went downhill real quick.
Thanks.
It'd be interesting, mate, because I
it'd
thought
be interesting. They're up there, so he's under pressure now straight away.
he was under pressure at Derby, wasn't he? And I think me and you both agree he did about as much as he could with Derby under the constraints that he was under. He did all but keep him up, didn't he?
Yeah, he's had a full pre-season, knows his team, knows who he's playing. Now he's going to come in, do a stick with it, how they've been playing, or do a change it. It's big disruption for no reason.
Yeah,
when they're doing the 6 in the playoff position.
It's a strange
disruption, and he could do without. Don't get me wrong, he might come in, and if he's smart, he won't touch much, just tweak a little few things. If he comes in and tries to totally change it, then he'd be an idiot.
Yeah, well, there could be problems then. It's interesting, like you look at the backroom staff that he's brought in straight away with him. He's brought in, Ashley Cole, arguably one of the best left backs to ever play in the Premier League. John O'Shea, multiple titles and European titles and the rest of it. And then obviously Wayne Rooney himself. But he's also brought in Carl Robinson, who's played, League One, League Two, and Championship, managed at that level as well. And same with
which Carl Robinson, which one's he?
So there's 2 Carl Robinsons in there. There's the one who managed MK Dons, and then there's the other one, Carl with a C. I think it's Carl with a C, the one who played for Wales.
He played for Sunderland in?
I think Sunderland.
He Welsh? Played for Wales?
Yeah, he did play for Wales, yeah.
Yeah, I know him then. I know him. I've actually been on a night out with him. Yeah, I know what you mean.
But it's interesting because they brought in Peter Shuttleworth, who's coached at that level as well. So he's brought in a mix of elite players who've played at the top level, and then also players who've played at Championship level, and some coaches who've coached at that level. So he clearly kind of he's not just going to go in there and say I'm Wayne Rooney, this is Ashley Cole, I can do as we say. He's thought about it. The personnel that he wants in there. Obviously, John O'Shea played in the Championship as well, didn't he, for Sunderland? But if I put you on the spot now, what do you think it'll be, a success or a failure?
Failure.
Interesting, because I know you rate Rooney, really highly as a
It's the way you come in. It's depends
on asking for trouble, isn't it?
Yeah.
And what if those players, if all those players really, really, really had an affinity to, because it's early days in John Eustace's managerial run there.
He will have done.
So he won't have lost many players in terms of, the dressing room and stuff like that, because it's early in his run. So if they all love him, Rooney's already fighting against that.
Down to that, we're talking little percentages here. It's a championship, so everyone can beat anyone any day. It's just little minor details. If he changes or disrupts us or players not comfortable, just little tiny things. It's all it takes. Like I say, the championship, anyone can beat anyone.
Yeah, it's such a difficult league, and I think sometimes the mistake that Premier League players make who've never come down and played in the Championship is when they go in as a manager, they try and do things that they did or that they do in the Premier League, but it doesn't necessarily work in the Championship.
No, but he's experienced before then. He's been there before.
Yeah, he has been there in the Championship.
He knows what it's all about, so he's got that advantage.
Yeah, I thought Wayne Rooney did a great job.
Yeah, he really did well under very, very difficult circumstances, but he still didn't climb that mountain. But it was very close. It was, it was almost impossible. But he nearly, he had people talking like us for weeks, so it was mathematically impossible. But yeah, it was It's Wayne Rooney. You'll have people's respect straight away. It's just like I say, minor details, but I'm on the fence. Hopefully it goes right. But you asked me a question, I just answered it.
Yeah, I think, look, ultimately, I want to see some new managers, in the Premier League and Championship. Like I've said this a lot before. I'm fed up of seeing the same managers getting the same jobs. I want to see different managers getting the opportunity to succeed and then succeeding. So hopefully he does succeed, because I look at the way Steven Gerrard and Frank Lampard went, and I wasn't impressed. So
that was my belly rumbling.
You're hungry boy, aren't you? Did you watch the Wales game yesterday, mate?
No.
All the youngsters?
No.
I was doing a podcast in the pub, so I was I didn't see it all, but I've sort of seen the highlights. Very young squad. Couple of the young players.
It was in Wrexham as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was down Wrexham way. One player who really has stood out apparently was Charlie Savage. Some people sort of really bigging up his performance. I think you've got to look at the opposition. To me, but you could only do what you can do, can't you? You can only play who's in front of you.
Yeah, it's people who work in Asda and stuff like that.
Yeah, of course it is. It's difficult, isn't it? But he's still got to do it. But they had people like Kiefer Moore played and stuff like that, scored a couple of goals. The confidence good.
Part-time players.
Yeah. And obviously they got the Croatia game. I don't think Wales will qualify. I got to be honest. I obviously want them to. I think it's going to be very, very difficult for Wales to qualify from where they are and the start they've made.
If they don't qualify, does he get sacked?
Yeah, I think he'll. No, I'll tell you now. But if you look at the fixtures they got Croatia at home, and then they play Armenia away and Turkey at home. Okay, if they lose all three of those games, he's done. Simply because they won't be able to qualify, and I think there's already pressure on him, because I think the problem he's got is the fans weren't 100% having him anyway. If you remember way back when we did those shows in the Euros, when he stepped in for your brother, like there was a lot of people questioning his subs and his tactics, but the general answer at that point was, well, he stepped in at the last point, the last moment. He's got to do. It's not his team, etc., etc. But then he was.
Not like he can transfer people.
No, of course. But then in the World Cup in Qatar, he was to blame for that. He did make poor decisions. He did, not make the changes which could have influenced the game. And Wales were poor. And from a group that we should have at least come close to getting out of, personally think we could have got out of it, we were shite. So he's got to, he's obviously, that's down to him. It's his squad, it's his players.
It's totally different, aren't they? One's played in high intense games most of his life, and one's not. So, and one's will see the game different than the other. So that's where it's shown in them, top competitions, when the decisions you have to make have to be the right ones.
So someone asked me a question. Someone asked me this question the other day. So I'm going to put you on the spot a bit. We haven't talked about it before the show, so if you don't want to answer it, you don't have to answer it. Do you think there's any chance that your brother ends up as Wales manager ever again?
I was just thinking that then, I don't know, because thinking, why wouldn't he? But
like if Page does lose the next three and gets sacked, Wales don't qualify.
And I think if they asked him back, yeah, he'd go back. It's a way back in. He's not going to get much abuse, and he can build his career back again.
I mean, if you look at it from a purely footballing point of view, like he was doing a good job with Wales up until when he finished.
Well, that took time though, didn't it? Because all them young
Yes.
players that he blooded through, now you've seen the rewards of it. Obviously, we've missed Brooks, but Brooks was a big player for him as well. Until he had that, that cancer. But obviously, thank God he's recovered from it. But he was a big player, and other young guys as well coming through. And he had to get the old ones out. It was a process that. And obviously, he had the X factor with Gareth Bale and Aaron Ramsey. He just needed to build around them with the young players that were coming through, which he did. And then Robert Page obviously took it on, did well to get him to finally get him there. But then obviously when we got there, he was very poor.
Yeah, and like you look at it now, it does feel a little bit like a team in transition because you've got like obviously Ramsey's the captain. I know he's out injured at the moment, but he's out. He's the captain, and they're kind of building around him with very young squad. You got like the likes of Harry Wilson and Ampadu and Nico Williams. Good Premier League players as well. And then there's another sort of like another wave of youngsters like Charlie Savage and Broadhead and these players who came on, who played last night and did well.
Yeah, but these players, I'll reiterate, that was against Gibraltar.
No, I know that, but even in the 23s, I was more looking at the 23s. They've been doing well in the 23s, and they've been on the benches. But I think let's use Charlie Savage as an example. Last year for United, he was on the bench a couple of times, came off the bench a couple of times, did all right, looked all right in pre-season, and then just played under 23s football all season, which I think is pointless. The 23s system is shite and it's not worth the paper it's written on. It doesn't do enough to get players ready. Whereas, is he better off playing week in, week out for Reading? Probably.
He can have moved. He didn't have to play on the 23s. He could say, can I go out on loan somewhere?
Yeah, maybe. Well, I mean, he's gone. He went to Reading in the end in this summer, and he's playing.
But I mean, he's saying it's crap on the 23s. He would have known that. His dad would have known that. So why didn't you say, right, can I go on loan somewhere for a year? Yeah, true. But from his point of view in terms of playing football, surely he's going to be better off playing week in, week out for Reading. 100%, yeah.
In 23s. And look, if he's as good as what people are saying, someone will sign him for the Championship or the Premier League anyway.
To be honest, I've not really seen much of him.
I've seen like little bits, and he looks decent.
Yeah, I've seen bits. I've seen pre-season games, bits when he's played. He's played a lot of pre-season games actually. Last year and this year. But he
looks tidy to me in the clips I see. He looks tidy.
His dad was technically tidy as well. Could take free kicks. He wasn't just run about.
People underestimate how good his dad was, don't they? I'm not saying he was like Zidane, but he was.
He could still play. Yeah, he still plays a Premier League footballer, Premier League midfielder. He just got under people's skin, just ratting about. But when he got hold of it, he could play as well. Yeah,
one of them players who you didn't want to play against.
One of the players that you didn't want to play against, you just know you're just going to end up just doing your head. He's like a little wasp. And just any chance you would to forehand smash him, do him, you'd take it. Yeah,
I've heard he's off the pitch. I've heard he's like a top bloke. Like
he's a really, 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 really nice bloke. Yeah, he's
can't do enough for people.
A few times, and most times it was out on a night out. Actually, most of the times it was a couple of times in that liquid.
Oh yeah,
Cardiff, yeah.
Jesus,
that's still going now.
I don't think so, mate. But you're asking the wrong person. In fairness,
liquid Cardiff back in the day.
Back in the day, liquid. Wow. So, of all the players who you know, or you've played with, or your brother's played with, or whatever, which players do you think have got they're so different to what they're like on the pitch? I'm interested in that. What players spring to mind where they were like aggy as fuck on the pitch, but then off the pitch they're like, nice and quiet. Or maybe they're quiet on the pitch and then like a nightmare off the pitch. Who's got that Jekyll and Hyde in them?
Yorkie was a bit of a nightmare off the pitch, actually, when he had a few drinks. Like, flipping all over the gaffer like a floppy drunk, bumping into everyone, bouncing off everyone as he's walking out the club.
You know what I can imagine him being like? Is like 1 minute you'd be talking to him like in the pub or a club or whatever, and then you look around and he's gone, like he's disappeared, like.
Yeah, and he's off. Yeah. I can't remember really. Can't remember. There's so many times as well. All the times it would be when they won the league, because they'd always have a do after it. She'd always go.
Yeah.
There's so many, but I can't really think who was like, out of, no.
Do you know when? Have you seen Lee Sharp on? I know you're not his biggest fan. Have you seen his episode of Under the Cosh, or have you seen any of the clips of it?
No.
So he said that when he was when they were partying and stuff, he said Fergie got him to get rid of his missus, his dog, and move back into digs or whatever. Like he literally got rid of it all and sent him back to digs. Which
that Scousebird?
I'm not sure, mate. I don't know if he names her or whatever, but like it was quite interesting that a young footballer, like the manager, had that much power. Can you imagine?
They're all scared to death of him, mate. They're all scared to death of him because you know, all right. Well, if you don't do that, see you later. You come from Torquay, mate.
Yeah.
If you come from Torquay, because obviously I went there, and the scout who scouted me was the same scout who scouted Sharpie, who's obviously from Birmingham, and this scout was from Birmingham, called JJ.
Okay.
And he used to always talk, Sharpie, mate, not Sharpie. Never fucking shut up about it.
So why aren't you a fan of him then? I'm always Lee Sharp.
I'm not a fan of him. Just
clash of personalities.
Yeah, something that he did that I'm not going to go into that annoyed me. So, yeah.
Fair enough, isn't it? Yeah. Sometimes there's those people you just don't get on with.
That's not I don't get on with. It's something that he did that when I think about it, makes you want to punch him in his head. So,
mate, you're gonna have to tell me that after now. You can't. I know you don't want.
To it was at the. Tell you what it was. It was at the Belfry, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was at the Belfry, and something had happened. I'm not going to. I can't even go into specifics because I did. That actually I got arrested for it and everything.
Yeah, it's all right, mate.
Obviously not charged, so
don't stitch yourself up with it. Tell me after, because I don't want to cause you any issues.
It was at the Belfry. I got a few drinks and someone got assaulted.
So obviously it's the international break, which everyone loves and stuff, and we're all really looking forward to it going on for another 65,000 weeks, because that's what it feels like it goes on for. I mean, Wales play Croatia on Sunday, so I guess there's that to look forward to. The international break just kills me. Like, I can't believe, right? We're at, 12th of October, mate, right? This is the second international break. Surely, that's too many.
Yeah, it's too much, isn't it? Too much.
Crazy, mate. Crazy. You like rugby, don't you?
Yes.
Wales going to win the World Cup?
Cheering the boys. If Ireland get past the All Blacks, Ireland. If Ireland don't get past the All Blacks, because Ireland, I'm full of stats today. Ireland have had 9 quarterfinals and 9 defeats.
Wow.
Can they break the duck?
So they need to get that monkey off their back, really, don't they?
Correct.
And then if they do, they'll have all of them.
Turkey beating Croatia. Latvia beating Armenia.
Yeah, they're friendlies. Are they friendlies or
group games?
They're proper games, are they?
Yeah.
Wow.
Croatia, in our group. Why are they playing?
Yeah, Croatia, Turkey.
Team. Have you listened to yourself? Why would Croatia and Turkey, when in the group, play a friendly?
Oh, mate, I know we're there this week. I told you that.
Oh my
God! Been all over the shop.
And Latvia, Armenia, believe it or not, are playing a friendly as well. They're in the same group. That'd be funny, wouldn't it?
That'd be a medal, wouldn't it?
Yeah, so that's could be good for us, then, no?
Yeah, I would have thought the Turkey one's good for us. I'm not sure about the other one. I'll have a look.
Looking now. Latvia. Yeah, it's good that if Latvia win, they'll be on 3 points. Oh yeah, they obviously did win. Why is it not on the table? Anyway, Armenia have lost.
Okay.
That's good.
So that's
for us.
good. That's very good for us.
us.
Yeah, that's excellent for us.
Turkey winning, which is that's bad for us because they'll be on 13 and we'll be on 7. So whoever wins that will be 6 points in front of us.
Do you know what though?
Right? A draw, really, couldn't we?
Yeah, what would be really good is Croatia-Turkey draw. I tell you what, mate, if Wales could get a point, even just a point against Croatia, that would be excellent because they then go into that. They play Turkey and Armenia then.
I think
they were able to
win your own games.
Yeah, Croatia are decent, aren't they? Yeah, like you say, Wales at home for many years under Coleman and your brother and that were home games. We always used to, get good results no matter who the opponents were. So we have to go into it. What was that?
Now, only change starving. Come on, mate. Let's wrap up.
That's it, mate. Right. Got to go and soothe my throat. You got to eat some food. I'm not quite sure what's going on with the streams tonight. They came on late and then they didn't come on, and they're up and everything now, and they'll be up for people to watch afterwards, and it'll be up on the Sports Social Podcast Network to download. Appreciate you all for joining us, but we will be back next week to talk.
What we're going to talk about next week? There's nothing to talk about.
Well, Wales and Croatia for a start. We'll do a quick half hour, I think, next week, and just talk about the Wales and what's the Scotland-Spain score at the moment? Is it still 0-0?
So you know.
But it'd mainly be Wales-Croatia, mate, next week. I'd like to have a good chat about that because that's quite a big,
half time.
Yeah, that's a big game for Wales. So we'll talk about that and any news, and then we'll be in and out quick.
All right,
top stuff. Appreciate you as always, mate. I'll speak to you in a bit,
In a bit,
motherfuckers.